Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's been a long time since I've done any of these dev updates for my space game. If you are newer to my channel or just kind of forgot about it or forgot where I was, let me give you a quick little rundown. A couple of years ago, I decided to do a kind of TIE Fighter inspired space prototype game. This is kind of where I'm at. Eventually, all the Star Wars, looking art will be removed and replaced with stuff I actually designed and built from scratch that don't closely resemble anything else. So the kind of first thing to know is that each one of these ships has their own kind of collision avoidance system, and they do an okay job at avoiding all these rocks. It's obviously not perfect. You can see they kind of move a little bit jankily, but all that would be sorted out in time. Just the fact that the system runs fairly performantly. The computer that this is currently recording on, I've got audio recording and screen capture recording happening at the same time, is a very old dual Xeon 2.4 gigahertz CPU and a 1080 Ti. So not top of the line. The CPUs are really old, somewhere in the 10-year-old range. Obviously the GPU's 2 years old. And was pretty good when it first came out, but obviously the 20 series has superseded them, and pretty soon the 3000 series will supersede that. Recent updates, I revamped the speed detection system so that each ship records its own speed, and then when you target them, it then reports that data to the player. And that's readable on the HUD under enemy speed. Your speed calculated the same way. Basically, it's a distance over time measurement to calculate speed. So it's going to be more accurate than just reading like a variable, whatever their speed is set to. So once I actually start to add like a more pronounced like speed change curve, so that there'll be a lag in like when you change your speed. So there's like an acceleration curve that will be read more accurately. Also, you can see that I have a HUD camera now, so you can actually see who you're targeting. That went in a couple weeks ago. I only posted about it on my personal Facebook stuff to so friends could see it. And this is the first video I've produced showing that in action. I think I showed it with like a screenshot or something on Facebook. You can see these two spheres at the top of the screen. Those were going to be, I don't know if anyone remembers, but in the Star Wars TIE Fighter games, there was a kind of like two hemispheres that showed all the sensor contacts on there. I had kind of a primitive implementation of that that went in today. It wasn't really what I wanted anyway in terms of capability. So I couldn't do things like change the color of specific targets on it. So they were all red. So you couldn't really differentiate anything, and the performance impact was huge. So I removed it. I'll try to figure out a better way at some point of doing that. If not, in the meantime anyway, I'm just going to be using, like a fairly easy to set up, pointer indicator telling you where your target is in relation to you, and that's really easy to set up. So I'll do that. It'll make things a little bit easier. Right now, none of the ships have health. Right now, you as a player character is invincible. You can shoot, and you can hit the targets or the enemy ships, and you can kill them, but it only takes one shot. So that's not a factor of like a certain damage amount. It's just there's a collision detection happening and they are told to die. So that will be changing here shortly. Let's see, recently did a little revamp on the target selection system. It works a lot better now. Also, the speed indication used to be that when you selected a new target, you'd see a really high jump in a target's speed. And that was just because, you know, the way the system works is because it samples position over time. It would sample one target and then you switch and it would sample the next target, and it would give you their distance from each other as if like your target had jumped in a really high speed. And so that doesn't happen anymore. As you can see, the speeds as I switch through targets is pretty consistent. I have noticed as doing these recordings today that occasionally I will see a really high value again. I suspect it's one of the individual ships doing some sort of crazy move to avoid collision. I don't know what else it could be, since each individual ship records their own speed, so that can't, you know, the old system is completely removed, so it's not the same problem. Let's see. Talked about the 2 spheres. So moving forward, I'm going to build in the health and you know, various other ship systems like, you know, weapon energy amount and, you know, recharge rate, so that, you know, it doesn't, you know, it will constantly charge over time. And I wanted to turn the level into a wave progression level rather than just like this crazy random melee. With right now we got 55 ships flying around. We're still about 50 frames per second, which is pretty good considering the age of my computer. I do need to build a new machine, but that will have to wait, I guess. This is probably the best way to put it. On certain times, as they are at the moment. These ships will shoot at you if they're targeting you. The way it currently works is that there's a set number of waypoints in the level. Each ship is randomly assigned a waypoint, and after, I don't know how many seconds it is, it's like 20 seconds or something like that, they will switch waypoints, and your ship is one of those waypoints. So once that once that ship gets you as its target, it will fly towards you, and when you fly within a certain distance, you will enter a collision volume, and then it will shoot at you. Right now they have a little bit of aiming help that will be minimized or removed entirely at some point once the system becomes better. It's really just so that you don't randomly die and you don't know why. Once I put health and stuff in there, you'll see that you're getting hit, and I'll probably put some indicators inside the HUD or inside the cockpit that you're getting hit. And then obviously I'm going to start removing some of the default world level stuff. This whole project was built on a first-person template, and so all the code that we're utilizing right now doesn't use any of that. All the code in this is built from scratch by me, including the collision avoidance system. It is not a raycast system, so it's not firing off rays to kind of read its environment. It uses a different method. The raycast system was just too performance intensive for a lot of ships, and so I'd seen, I forget the name of the guy off the top of my head, but he had built a system that kind of looked like, the ship in his test kind of looked like a TIE Advanced or something, flying around, and it would, had like, I don't know, an array of, raycasts happening, and it was able to do an okay avoidance, but it wasn't. I actually think my system is not only more performant, but it works better. But I had started with a system kind of based off of what I've seen in his videos. but you know, they do hit on occasion. But you can see there's a bunch of them happening. You can see how many ships are actually. Right now we're at 80, 76 now. Several of them just died. 73. So you can see, you know, that a lot of these guys, you know, can fly around. You know, and you know, if my CPU was faster, we'd be getting more acceptable frame rates. In the actual game, I don't know how many ships I'll actually have on screen any given time. This is meant to be a VR playable game, and so, you know, obviously, you know, hitting a very specific frame rate is going to be ideal. So once that is kind of sorted and kind of locked down, you know, I would, you know, have a better idea of how many ships I'll be able to run at any given time. But at least once I move over to the wave progression system for the you know, play level, I can actually start utilizing VR, because the chances of actually getting, you know, this many ships on screen where they're all actively trying to kill you and not just kind of flying around randomly, then I'll be able to do things like start doing VR tests and stuff like that, where I'm not worried that the frame rate's going to drop really low. So with all that said, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that I will do more of these videos moving forward than I have. It's probably been over a year since my last update. You know, the world's pretty uncertain right now, so we'll see what happens. But again, thank you all for watching, and I will, you know, talk to you in the next video.